Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm very glad you're here. It's good to see you on this very hot evening, um, hence the casual attire. It is summertime in Northern California. It is almost 90 degrees still, and there's a lot of smoke in the air from all the fires. Um, just comes with the territory, right? So, anyway, despite all that, I think it's a good time to do a little drinking and a little thinking, and I'd be honored if you join me. So grab what you got. I got some iced tea, iced Earl Grey to be exact. Not much ice left though; it already melted. But anyway, like I said, grab what you got. The important thing is that we have a good time and hopefully learn something new. So that being said, cheers to you and Jesus too. Mm, cold. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, all right. Anyway, let's dive right into it, shall we? I got a quick article for you today, written by the man himself, Dr. Ron Paul. And I got this article from one of my favorite websites, LouRockwell.com, which I encourage all of you to check out. They update it daily with all sorts of news articles and editorials from all across the internet, and they're always very well written. Sometimes humorous, sometimes infuriating. It's late. Angerfying, as one of my friends used to say. Anyway, yeah, like I said, quick article, so let's dive right into it. The title is True Civil Libertarians Must Oppose the IRS. And this kind of ties into the article that I read last video, talking about how the IRS basically is kind of a weapon that the rich use against the poor, because the way the laws are written, and the way the rich have money, they have lawyers, accountants, they can basically get around all this stuff. And half the time the IRS doesn't even want to mess with them because they know they're going to have a very long, drawn out legal battle trying to go after these people, versus people like you and me, the little people. We don't have those tools at our disposal. So the IRS is more than comfortable targeting us. And there's another angle to this that Ron Paul brings up, and I don't want to steal his thunder. So, yeah, here we go. The article reads as follows. Progressives who work to end individual rights violations committed by the NSA, FBI, DEA, CIA, and other federal agencies usually overlook or even support the routine violations of Americans' rights by the IRS. For example, progressives rarely, if ever, speak out against the IRS's targeting of the opponents of those in power. When liberal Democrats control the White House, the IRS targets advocates of free markets. When hawkish Republicans are in power, the IRS targets anti-war activists. The Democrats' election reform legislation would require political organizations to divulge their top donors. Such donor disclosure requirements can be, and have been, used to intimidate donors from supporting, quote, controversial causes. Yet the requirements are supported by many progressives in the name of getting big money out of politics. In order to, quote, pay for their massive spending schemes, President Biden and his congressional allies are planning a huge increase in the IRS budget. The declared purpose is to enable the tax agency to bring into the government much more money by ramping up efforts to identify and punish those not paying the, quote, proper amount of taxes. The tax code's complexity guarantees many innocent Americans will be caught in the IRS's expanded net. Yet progressives will support this because they favor the new social programs the new revenue will finance, and because they believe the IRS will only target billionaires and big corporations. The truth is that most of the new revenue will be collected from middle and working class Americans. These Americans will be targeted because, unlike billionaires and big corporations, Middle and working class Americans cannot afford legions of tax lawyers and accountants to level the playing field between them and the tax agency. They are more likely to simply give in to the IRS's demands. Waiters and waitresses may even be subjected to audits to ensure they are paying taxes on their tips. Another frightening proposal is for the government to impose a, quote, mileage tax to fund highway construction. A mileage tax would require government to keep track of how many miles every American drives. Some claim that a mileage tax can be implemented without creating a massive new system of government surveillance. Even if this were true, anyone who expects the government not to use this new power for nefarious purposes needs to Google, preferably DuckDuckGo. Anyway, uh, Edward Snowden. Progressives' blind spot towards IRS abuses of liberty is rooted in their belief that one can separate, quote, economic liberties from, quote, civil liberties. This allows them to support an abusive tax system to fund a welfare state and, for an increasing number of progressives, a warfare state, while opposing other infringements on liberty. These progressives are the mirror image of conservatives who defend economic liberty while supporting government infringements on personal lifestyle choices. One of the most urgent tasks of those who wish to restore a free society in all areas is to end the artificial distinction between economic and civil liberties. By defending all liberty, no matter if it is classified as economic liberty or civil liberty, we can best protect against violations of any liberties.
And there you have it. With respect, the utmost respect to the great Dr. Ron Paul, I'd like to change his title a little bit. He wrote, "True civil libertarians must oppose the IRS." I'd like to change that to read, "All Americans must oppose the IRS." I remember back in 2004, 2006, I was in high school, and we had the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and the IRS was targeting anti-war protesters, which of course isn't right. But then then Obama got elected, and the shoe was on the other foot, wasn't it? Then they started targeting Tea Party people, limited government types. You see, the IRS is being used as a weapon, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be there at all, actually. The very idea of the income tax, lefties, I'm just going to throw this out there for you, and this confuses me why you guys support this big tax code. You keep thinking that, millionaires and billionaires are going to pay their fair share. Well, that's not the way the system was designed. I mean, think about it. The way they sold the income tax was that millionaires were going to pay the income tax, right? J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, whoever else, Henry Ford or whatever. And look what happened. We're all filling out 1040s now, aren't we? And are the rich paying their fair share, like you say? No, they're not. I brought that up in my last video. They have lawyers and accountants and nonprofits and corporations and tax deductions. We don't have any of that, do we? And so we're easy pickings for the IRS, and that's exactly what's happening. They're going after political enemies. Republicans, Democrats. It's not right. It's morally wrong. That power shouldn't exist at all. And it's un-American, by the way. I mean, the very idea of a government bureaucracy targeting people is horrifying if you really think about it. The founding fathers, the settlers, all that, the way this country was set up was the government is supposed to stay out of our business. And we work hard, and we work smart, and we work together, and we build a great country, right? The government's not supposed to be a weapon that you use on your political opponents. It's not. It's wrong. So, what is the answer? We repeal the 16th Amendment. We get rid of the IRS, right? When something's wrong, we do away with it. That's how it should be, right? And I know that sounds extreme, there's no income tax, and what are we going to do for roads? Well, once again, I'd like to point out that before 1913, before all these income taxes, not just income, but other taxes, all the taxes, before they were foisted on us, we had roads, we had bridges, we had infrastructure, we had charities. People weren't starving in the streets before the income tax showed up. There were churches and charities and nonprofits. There were many of them that ran soup kitchens, that helped people get jobs, people get back on their feet. There was plenty of that, all before these taxes came along. So, it can be done. It's not without precedent, right? Prohibition. We did prohibition. We figured out that it didn't work, was kind of dumb, and we did away with the 18th Amendment. We struck it down. So, we can do the same with the 16th. It's not unheard of. It's not without precedent. I know it sounds extreme, but I really think once you've seen the evidence in the articles like this, and in my last video, where I talk about how the IRS is a weapon, I really think you'll kind of see my point, and I really think I drive the point home. The IRS simply is a weapon. That's all it is. It's collecting taxes for a government, for political purposes, and it's being used for nefarious purposes. It's wrong. So, get rid of it. I know that sounds frightening and extreme and scary, but if you really just take a minute to think about it. And I encourage you, go to your favorite search engine, like Mr. Dr. Ron Paul encouraged you to do. Look it up. There's so many examples of IRS abuses. They're there, and they happen all the time. And it shouldn't. It shouldn't be this way. So, anyway, I'll try to keep this video short. I can go on for hours about this, but I really, like I said, I hope I hit the point home. Really hope you'll at least do some research, watch this video again, some of the points I make. I know we can do better than this. It shouldn't be this way. I'm passionate about this, so I want to spread the word. And this isn't some conspiracy thing. We got a congressman saying the same thing, and there's lots of Americans, I couldn't give you a number, thousands, millions, I don't know, but there's a lot of Americans out there that feel the same way that I do and Dr. Paul do. So this isn't some conspiracy wacko thing, Yeah. Anyway. I think I'll leave it there for now. One last point that I'd like to make is I live in California and we pay an egregious amount of taxes here. I mean, just taxes up the wazoo. They just increased the gas tax recently. And I'm paying more and more every year, it seems like. More and more taxes, more and more taxes. The taxes grow in number as well as in size, right? I mean, the DMV fees went up a bunch, right? But it just seems like the more they tax me, the less I seem to get in return. And nobody seems to be asking what they're doing with that money. It's always, you need to pay more taxes. Well, why do I need to pay more taxes? Why don't you spend the money that I give you better? I'm spending more and more money for roads, and these roads have more and more potholes. I'm spending more and more for infrastructure, and these bridges don't seem like they're holding together very well. And there's homeless people everywhere, and crime seems to be going up. What are you doing with my tax money? Shouldn't you be held accountable for what you said you were going to do? I gave you that money. We gave you that money for roads, bridges, crime. And what are you doing with it? And why is the burden on me to pay you more money, Mr. Politician? It's outrageous. It's ridiculous. I feel the blood pressure rising. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Liberals especially, you gotta stop. Okay, why don't you start holding government accountable instead of reaching into my wallet? Okay, I'm a working class guy. I'm struggling here. Bills are going up. Taxes are going up. I'm having a hard time. And I think all of us are having a hard time, right? Why is it on me to pay more money? Why shouldn't we have a government that spends the money more wisely and makes sure that we're getting what we pay for? Instead of being a weapon, against your political enemies. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I shall dismount the soapbox and have a drink. Yeah. I think I made my point. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I hope you have a good night. I hope you have a good week, a good weekend. If you're struggling, you're having a hard time, I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's got something, so you're not alone. I don't think you are. If you're doing well, that's great. That's awesome. I hope things keep going well for you, and I'll still keep you in my thoughts and prayers because, I hope things keep going well for you. So, regardless, we got to stick together. So, anyway, that being said, I think that's it. So, I wish you a good night. I hope you found this informative, and I hope I at least got you to think a little bit about what I said and the IRS. I hope you leave me a comment. I love comments, feedback, vibing. What do you think? You hate what I say or not? I really want to know. So leave me a comment. It'd make me very happy. I hope you tune in again. And I do. I hope to see you again. And hope you have a good night. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And good night. Take care.